Alright, so how I've been starting my makeup lately has been with the new MAC Lightful C 2-in-1 serum with Radiance Booster. It's got like two parts, so you can just take the two off. So that's the whole 2-in-1 aspect. This one is an untinted version of the serum, and the bottom has a tinted version. So I like to go in with the tinted version during the day, and then at night I'll use the untinted version because obviously you don't need tint at night because who am I going to impress? My pillow. So I just put some on the back of my hand, and I just like to go in with a brush. So I don't know if you can see, but it kind of made like a difference already, just like evening out my skin tone and just making everything just a little bit less red because I get a lot of redness in my skin. So after that, I like to go in with a primer, MAC's Skin Base Visage. And same thing, I just put some on the back of my hand. I just use one pump because that's really all you need. And then I go in with a brush. And with the primer, I normally just focus on my T-zone. And then if I have some left over, I'll like get like the outer edge of my face. But the T-zone really is where I have to worry about my makeup moving around on. Make sure to get my chin. And I get kind of dry on my chin, but you know, I want to make sure I got all my bases covered. And then if there's anything like left on my brush or on my hand, I'll just work it into the edges. So after that, I like to go in with strobe cream just because it gives like a little extra glow to your skin. You don't need a lot of that at all. So again, just some on the back of my hand, and that's probably too much, but you know, a little extra glow never hurt anyone. And then just using up what I have, and I just like to kind of like blend it and work it in, but at the same time like pat to make sure it's there and not like moved all the way around your face. So, and you can see it doesn't really do a whole lot, but it gives like just a little soft shine. So after that, I'm going to go in with my MAC's Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation, and I just have like a little sample of it right now. I don't have the actual tube, but my color is NC25. Actually, with this foundation, you do not need a lot. Like, I have like way too much on my brush for like this side of my face, so I'm gonna like kind of like place it around and then work it in. And I just like to start like with one side of my face and work to the other instead of like inward and then out. Sorry if you hear a crying sound. My sister is out there with my nephew, and he just doesn't sound happy right now. I think it's nap time and he doesn't want it to be nap time. I love this foundation because you can use a very, very small amount of product and get a really, really nice, like, even finish with, like, a lot of coverage for being, you know, a foundation that's not using a lot of it, I guess. I don't know, it's a really bad way to phrase it. But you don't need a whole lot to get full coverage and get like a really flawless finish. I always get compliments when I wear this foundation because it gives kind of like a porcelain finish to my skin, like a very flawless, just gorgeous finish. I love this foundation. It's also waterproof, so I live in Florida. It's really hot. People sweat. It happens. It's a natural bodily function. But it can make your makeup slide around and stuff like that, and you don't have to worry about that with this foundation because it's waterproof. It's not going anywhere. And then, like it says in the name, it's nourishing waterproof. So it's still hydrating and it doesn't dry out my skin because I do have dehydrated skin. So it keeps it nice and nourished, but at the same time, it's not going anywhere. And any of the oil that my skin does produce, it kind of just like sucks it up and gets rid of that. So I don't have to worry about looking oily throughout the day or like looking like my skin's like really dry, and yeah. So I love it. So I am just going to go off screen real quick. do my brows and some eye makeup, and then I will show you the rest of my base makeup. All right, so now that I have done my eye makeup and eyebrows, I'm going to go ahead and conceal under my eyes. What I'm using to do that is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and the color that I use for that is NW20. So if you notice, I did an NC for my face, and then under my eyes I like to use an NW, because if I use an NC under my eyes as well, like if I use the NC20 concealer, it actually starts to go kind of gray and doesn't cover as well. But using a warmer tone under my eyes kind of cancels out any darkness, anything like that, and just really covers it well without starting to look funky. So I just use a brush and kind of place that, and then I like to blend out the edges with my finger because I feel like it blends it better and gives a softer look. So you can kind of see the difference there between the concealed side and the unconcealed side. You can see I've got dark circles, which the foundation did cover pretty well, but obviously the concealer made it a lot brighter and made me look a lot more awake and alive. So there is concealer under my eyes. Whatever I have left on the brush, I'll use like anywhere that I need a little bit covered up. I don't really have any like blemishes right now to cover, but I've got like some spots that are just a little bit discolored, so I just add a little bit and kind of blend it out with my finger, just for a more flawless finish on my skin. So after that, I like to set under my eyes and like kind of just through the T-zone with a powder. I'm using the MAC Select Sheer Pressed, and that color is NW20 as well. I don't know, I have my own little routine of what colors I like to use for what, and I feel like this kind of just sets it nicely, keeps it nice and bright underneath, and again keeps it from going gray. I'll do like a little on my chin, around the nose, on the nose, and then if I really want to, a little bit kind of just right up through the forehead. And I like to pat that on with my brush as opposed to like dusting it on, because if you start like really like working the brush on your skin like that, it's just going to move around any concealer or foundation that you've laid out. So patting that is just going to place that powder right on top without moving anything around. So now I'm going to do a little bit of contour, just very light contour. I'm using actually a blush by MAC. It's called Harmony, but as you can see, it's like a brown toned, like a cool toned brown, and I'm using this brush. It is by BH Cosmetics. You can see it's like a angled, fluffy brush, and just getting some of that on my brush and just bringing it right under the cheekbones. And I like to start up at the hairline and work it down, because you really want like the most concentrated point of that color to be up by your hairline instead of like halfway down your cheek, because that would just look weird. And I'll start with my brush with like the angle like that against it and go down, and then I'll turn it and like blend upwards once all that product has been placed on my face, and that'll really start to blend it out. And I try to keep the motions like back and forth, but you can go up or down a little bit depending on where you feel it needs a little bit more blending. So you can see not contoured and just a soft contour. So I'm not doing anything heavy because again it's like a light look, as you can see with like the eyeshadow and everything. So again, just starting at the hairline and bringing it down and just blending out. And then I'm just taking a little bit of this just along my temple and down and blending it into what we have down there. And then I like to do a little under the jaw and blend down just to kind of define my jawline. And then another thing that you can do, should you really want to, and I like to just because it adds a little bit of color into the face, I just take the side of that brush and ever so lightly like drag it down the side of my nose, not really as a nose contour or anything like that, but just to kind of like bring a little bit of color back into my face. And then you can go underneath as well if you want. So now I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting. For this, I'm using the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle. So you can see it's just like this really gorgeous, shimmery, beautifulness. And I'm getting that on a MAC 224. This one's from last year's holiday set, which is why it's like white and small. But it's cute, I love it. And this is just going on the tops of my cheekbone. You can do a little on the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose, and then you can even do your Cupid's bow if you're going to be wearing lipstick or something like that. And it's just kind of pretty, glowy, gorgeous skin. So that's just what I like to do. You can definitely highlight more places, like people will highlight the chin or the forehead, the center of the forehead here. That is totally up to you. It's personal preference. I just don't like doing it because I feel like it makes me look oily. So next I'm going to do some blush. This is MAC Mineralize Blush in Warm Soul. It is gorgeous. It is like my favorite blush of all time because it's kind of just like, it's not too pinky, it's not too peachy, it's just like beautiful, and it's got a shimmer to it, so that adds to the glow. I'm taking that on a Made You Look brush, and they're not numbered or anything like that. It's just like a fluffy angled. It's kind of like the one that I used for the contour, except it's a lot fluffier and not nearly as dense as the other one. And with this, I'm just starting at the apples of my cheeks and blending up towards the hairline. Up, and voila. So this is the finished look with everything done. But as you can see, this is how I do my base makeup. And it just gives like a really beautiful, glowy, natural look to the skin while still being like perfected skin. No redness, no blemishes or anything like that. That's all covered, but it's like slightly more defined, like in the cheekbones, glowy, nice wash of color on the skin, and just keeping it like, I think, pretty natural looking. Obviously, your cheeks aren't going to be this color naturally, and obviously I'm wearing blush, but as far as everything else, I feel like it keeps it pretty natural as far as the skin. So if you want to see how I got this eye look and this lips, I recorded that, and that is going to come out in my next video. So stay tuned for that, and you'll see how I got this full look. So thank you for coming to my channel and checking this out. I hope you have a good day. Bye.